Hi everyone, welcome to week 3. Our topic is AI hallucinations, when tools like ChatGPT make up the wrong information. Before we jump into today's materials, we need to talk about an important concept that's becoming more and more important in the business world: AI hallucinations. When we hear the word hallucination, we usually think of somebody seeing or experiencing something that isn't real. In AI, it's a very similar idea. A hallucination happens when an AI system like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or others create information that sounds very convincing but is actually very wrong, misleading, or even completely made up. The important thing to understand is AI doesn't know facts the way humans do. It doesn't check whether something is true before saying it. Instead, AI is trained to predict the words, sentences, or ideas right based on the patterns it learned from massive data amounts of data, books, websites, articles, but not necessarily accurate information. So if there's a gap in the data or the AI doesn't quite understand the question, it doesn't stop and ask for help. It just makes something up that sounds right. Here's an example. If you ask an AI tool for a quote from a famous business leader and the AI doesn't know the answer, it might invent a quote that sounds completely believable, but that person never actually said it. Even more challenging, when AI hallucinates, it presents the wrong answer with total confidence. It doesn't say, I think, or I'm not sure. It just states the wrong answer as if it were a fact. This is a huge reason why critical thinking is so important when you're working with AI tools, especially in business settings, because just because something sounds polished or professional doesn't mean it's correct. So let's talk about what happens when an AI hallucination causes real problems in business. Imagine you're a customer using a major bank's AI chatbot. You ask a simple but important question: what's today's fixed mortgage rate? Instead of pulling the latest data from the bank's official system, the AI hallucinates. It gives you a number that's completely wrong, maybe an old rate from last year or a made up figure that sounds reasonable. Now think about the consequences. If the customer makes a decision like locking in a mortgage based on that bad information, the bank could face serious problems. They could face legal responsibility for providing false financial advice. They might face penalties from financial regulators like the SEC. And maybe most importantly, they could lose customer trust, which is incredibly hard to rebuild once it's broken. But it doesn't stop with finance. In healthcare, if AI suggests the wrong medication dosage or misidentifies symptoms, the consequences could be life threatening. In the legal world, if an AI incorrectly cites fake case or law, it could compromise somebody's legal defense or a business' entire strategy. AI hallucinations aren't just technical errors. They create real world risks that can hurt people, damage brands, cause financial loss, and even invite lawsuits. Businesses that want to use AI responsibly have to plan for this. That might mean setting up extra layers of human review, building better AI training processes, or putting clear warnings or disclaimers in place when using AI to serve customers. Now, as you get ready to dive into today's article and video and discussion board, I want you to approach it with a critical mindset. There are three major questions I want you to think about. First, detection. How can you detect when an AI might be hallucinating? What signs or red flags should you watch for? Sometimes when it's an answer, it's oddly vague. Sometimes when an answer is very detailed or doesn't cite a source, or sometimes when something just feels too perfect or too polished. Learning to spot an AI when an AI is overconfident or making things up is going to be an essential business skill, like spotting a bad data source or a suspicious email. Second, responsibility. If something goes wrong because of an AI hallucination, who should be held accountable? Is it the company that deployed the AI? Is it the engineers that built it? Is the customer who trusted it? These are important ethical and legal questions that businesses and regulators still are figuring out today. Think about how you would answer if you were a company executive explaining a mistake to customers or a court. And third, business impact. What industries are most at risk for AI hallucinations? Finance, healthcare, and legal services clearly face huge risks. But what about marketing, retail, education? How might a single AI mistake impact a company's reputation, the bottom line, or even its ability to stay in business? AI is a powerful tool, but it's not perfect, and it's not a substitute for human judgment. Your ability to think critically, ask questions, and not take answers at face value is going to be more important than ever.